Alright, hello. Long-awaited Nidus video is here. And honestly, yeah, he's pretty good. Okay, I've seen a lot of videos glazing this guy, and I think the glaze is justified. He is really powerful. I think he kinda has it all right now. Before he was just an insane support frame or an insane endless frame, but outside of endless missions you couldn't really do much with him. And now, with all the buffs to especially him and his augments, he's insane. So let's go ahead and take a look at all four of the builds. You can also see like what the builds are all about here, and we're gonna take a look at each one of them. I'll not show the team buffer build as I don't have a team to buff right now, but I will simply explain it and just move on to the next one. This is a really simple build, and this is the build that kind of makes Nidus a Z tier support frame, where the idea is that you simply put Bright Bonnet down and then you link with someone. The link provides them increased ability strength depending on your ability strength, and it multiplies their ability strength. So because of this Warframe multiplying other Warframe's ability strength, if you multiply someone like Dante, then Dante suddenly gives you 600,000 overguard. If you multiply someone like Rhino, Rhino suddenly gives you 1000% roar. If you multiply someone like Wisp, Wisp suddenly gives you 3000% fire rate, and etc. Basically, if you have any other Warframe that scales really well with strength and they can snapshot that strength buff in order to make good use of it, then Nidus just gets simply broken. And if you have a really good DPS frame that you can use like a Cyro 9, a Sarin, a Gaura, something like that, then simply linking them with Nidus increases the damage by like 100,000 times. So regardless of what you choose, Nidus with Link and Bright Bonnet or Link and Roar is pretty much the strongest support Warframe in the entire game. And because we don't really care about survivability or anything, the only thing we have for survivability is adaptation, and Parasitic Link is there just in case you have any mutation stacks. You don't really farm mutation stacks on this build ever. On this build, all you do is you press 4, then you press 3 on your ally, and then you chill. You don't really need to do anything. Your allies have pretty much leniency to do everything. This is also why you go for power donation, as you just want to increase their strength as much as possible. And if you all run power donation in a coordinated squad, this is by far the best thing you can do. In general, Nidus is just absolutely overpowered as a team buffer. He always has been. When I created my tier list way back in Oraxia's update, Nidus was a Z tier support, and that hasn't changed. That is in fact kinda improved now, and people hopefully will see that Nidus is probably the strongest support in the entire game. Let's go for actual builds that we can play solo. First of all, we have Solo Endless. This is a classic. This is probably a variation of a build you've seen 1,000 times so far, which basically combines 2 Umbral modes instead of 3. We don't need the third one since we're running Parasitic Vitality. Abundant Mutation is here because we want to get as many stacks as possible from our passive, and I don't think any other augment is needed, although you can do Insatiable if you would like instead of Sturge maybe, but I personally don't think it's needed whatsoever, and overall this is just more than enough for you to just go ahead and do it. Also, ideally, one thing about Arcane Persistence, ideally you would want this to be 1400 armor. You can in theory reach it by just adding some armor shards or taking more armor into your build. And the reason why you want to have 1400 armor, which is double of persistence, is just in case somebody hits you with a heat proc, you can actually, like, the 50% armor reduction will not disable Arcane Persistence, which will kill you instantly. So this is definitely something to keep in mind. If you want to take this on like an endless mission, you would probably need to maybe swap out a bit of the Archon swords or something like that, and that should be fine. Which, by the way, 1 for casting speed, 1 for maximum energy field on spawn so you can start sacking, and then 1 for maximum energy and 2 for ability strength. These 2 can be swapped for armor if you wanna just be safe with persistence, but I usually do the team buffer build, so I like doing two strength swords. So let's go ahead and showcase what this build looks like. Your pet doesn't really matter, you just want a pet that you can link to, and that is absolutely fine. And this is for your classic, survival mission, disruption mission, whatever you would do, Void Cascade. I'm just gonna go to the Void as usual and showcase this in a survival mission, like a classic survival mission. Say 5 minutes. and show you what it can absolutely do. Alright, well, I'm stupid. I queued normal path. Thankfully, there is a Circulus on Lua, so I can just go ahead and do that. My fault on that one. Now we can actually see what this build actually does and not one-shot everything. So ideally, you would want your second ability to catch 3 or more enemies, and that's the best way to generate energy with this guy. If you can hit 2 or more enemies at the same time, then you absolutely will generate energy. And before you link to anything, you are kind of squishy, so be careful about that. Once you can link to anything, link to your kapat and just start going crazy. And as you can see, we're stacking fairly quickly. 1 casting speed feels more than enough, especially when we're here. It's like really crazy what we can do. And yeah, in general, as you can see, with just 1 energy shard, we don't need arcane battery, we don't need anything. Arcane battery does help if you're skill issued and you still run out of energy, but yeah, it's not really needed. In general, this is really cool. I wish the third ability would buff companion ability so we can get some dump crit chance from a Darza Kabat and reach like red crits from anything. But it is what it is. We'll take what we can. As you can see, I'm already on 190 stacks, 220. They go really, really quick, these stacks. Even without insatiable, that's why I don't use it. I don't really need it, and they just go up super quickly. As you can see, we are now sitting at 36,000 health, and that is mostly because Parasitic Vitality. The more stacks we have, Parasitic Vitality will just keep working and working and working, and it will just provide even more stacks. So really, really cool. Then finally, Ravenous, we can cast it. It brings us the maggots that explode on people and they deal a ton of damage. And we also get the health regen in case we want to tank something, which is really, really cool. But yeah, in general, the whole idea is you want to stack as much as possible. If I had a pretty small box there, everybody would get one-shotted, by the way. It's pretty cool. And yeah, I just use Madure for some casting speed so I can bypass casting speed swords. I just do this loop of the gameplay, and once I reach 300 stacks, I basically one-shot anything on base Silpa. As you can see, 900,000 damage. Pretty cool. Eximus, you would probably need a primer or something to do as much. And yeah, we need to be careful to always link to something, whether that's our pet or not. Our pet is preferable because it grants us the ability strength for our first ability to do crazy damage. And on the later stages, you would probably want to link to an enemy to provide you with the damage reduction as well, but you know, it is what it is. You don't really need to do that necessarily. But yeah, really cool. 1 million damage now from the first ability because we can link our pet and generate the ability strength. Very high damage. The maggots from Ravenous are also dealing extremely high damage when they explode on enemies, so that's really, really cool whenever that happens. But yeah, some tips I can give is try to cast your second ability on the ground. Whenever you look, it will go there, and if you want to see how it works, you can even hold the ability down. Anyways, there is an indicator if you hold the ability down that shows you where the ability is supposed to go, but in general, like, as long as it's somewhere that you can see and it's close to the ground, so you can target it with your first ability very easily, because your first ability does go from the ground, then you're fine. Almost at max stacks here. We're finally at max stacks, and now we're simply unkillable. If we die ever, which we won't, but if we die ever, we will just get like 15 stacks lost, which is basically nothing. And right now I'm linked to an enemy, and as you can see, my damage is still really insane. I have 90% damage reduction and damage redirection since I'm linked to this guy. So he will take 10%, or I will take 10% of the damage dealt to me, and in general, I just can't die anymore. Like this, no matter where you go, no matter what enemy level you do, if you're linked to an enemy, you just can't die, and all you need is something like a primary secondary weapon like the Epta for the Compressor. Compressor is probably better since you're grouping enemies with your second ability, so you hit Compressor and then you spam one and you're fine. And that's about it. Also, when I hold one, this is the range of the first ability, you can see. This is what I'm talking about. You can also see where the maggots are at latch, so you can target them with the first ability and explode them, which is really good. I'm not sure why Spider Boy invited me, by the way. I'm not sure what that's about. Oh yeah, we can see like the damage I'm taking. Come on, man, do your worst. Oh no. Oh no. Is persistence? Oh yeah, persistence is down. See, that's what I was saying. So basically persistence was down, so I was taking a lot of damage from that, but yeah. Oh, somebody followed on Twitch. I'm sorry about that. So this is why you would want 1400 armor. As you can see, the Eximus that deals the heat damage, because I was dealt the heat proc, he removed persistence from me, and getting at least one proc from a Jade Light Eximus is enough for you to be one-shotted from them, so definitely watch out for that. Anyways, yeah, we're full on health, so yeah, it doesn't really, we don't really, yeah. We really don't deal damage to the fractures if we don't prime them, to be honest, but you see just viral procs and heat procs, and then you hit your one, suddenly you deal like 1 billion damage, so definitely bring a secondary primer whenever you want. This Poda Pox is not even for priming, it just has pure heat and viral damage, so just the armor reduction from heat plus viral damage multiplier, and then your first ability, it just deals a ton of damage, so definitely keep that in mind if you want to go for an endless run. Something like a compressor primer, something like an epitaph primer, or any primer of your choice, and press 2, use your primer, then spam 1, and 3 presses of your first ability should kill them very easily, and you should be good to go. In general, Nidus is a really successful rework where they don't change the core identity of his kit, but they make him way stronger. And the thing I like the most about the rework is that it fixed the main issue that Nidus is a character that wants to stay pretty immobile. Like they don't really want to move around when they play Nidus. Now you have the ability to move around, and you have the ability to do whatever you want because of the second build that I will showcase, which is actually gonna be the final one, the solo sword mission build. So this build, as you can see, I have subsumed over their 4th ability, or Nidus' 4th ability, because I am actually going for a primary buffing build with Teeming Virulence and Parasitic Vitality. This, as you can see, it only has Umbral Fiber for tankiness, but as long as you're linked to your pet that's following you around, then you don't really need to care about anything. All you need to do is press 2, press 1, use your favorite primary weapon of choice, where here I'm gonna use the Tena Tetra in my opinion, with this build. It shouldn't have overcharge, let's do Deadhead because it's better, but yeah. This is the Nidus build, and then this is the Tetra build that I'm gonna go with the Toxin mode instead of a Riven here, although the Riven is pretty powerful. And yeah, the augment provides critical chance to primary weapons whenever you hit many enemies with your first ability, which makes it ideal for something like exterminate missions or missions that you have to do like a short mission and you don't need to stay in one spot. Basically, Ravenous as an ability wants you to stay in one spot, while now that I can link to a pet, I can just simply do this, press 2, press 1, and then start hitting with my gun and decimate everything with the extra critical chance. It's really cool. The extra critical chance is so high, by the way, it's like 1374% right now. This is modded critical chance, but it's 1300%. It's so much. It's ridiculously like overpowered as an augment. Teeming Virulence. So yeah, don't need much. Just 2 presses of your first ability, and then just straight up go crazy with your primary weapon of choice. It doesn't need to be the Tetra or anything like that, by the way. It can be any weapon. I just picked the Tetra because I liked it. Any primary weapon with this build just goes absolutely nuts. And I find this pretty much my favorite build so far for Nidus, because I like gun buffing in general, but the crit chance is just so insane, and he feels deceptively tanky. Like, obviously this is for a short mission, so you don't really need to do like that tanky of a build. So this is more than enough, you know. But yeah, results are results. This is one of my favorites, definitely. And I think if you were to do a build, like one of the builds today, you know, you could probably copy like other YouTubers' builds for his regular ability spamming. Where did my pet go? Where is my cat? Yo, hello. Don't do that again. Anyways, yeah, you could probably just copy other people's builds for like abilities and all that. I just preferred mine. It's all preference really with ability Nidus. But when it comes to just this gun buffing build, I really do suggest giving it a try exactly as I have it, because it feels absolutely amazing to play. You just pair it with any primary weapon you really like, and he just shreds everything. He is so strong with his virulence right now. So yeah, if you wanted to find a build to use Nidus for shorter missions and not have to really care about stacks and just play your mission without caring, yeah, this is it, man. This is absolutely it. You can also use, it doesn't matter by the way which subsum you use. I just like Eclipse because I also have the choice to turn it into damage reduction, and if I wanted to use a weapon with multiple, it scales harder than Roar. But that's about it. I'm just a fan of Eclipse in general. If you don't want to use Eclipse and you want to use Roar, or you want to use that as Whisper, then yeah, go ahead. It doesn't really matter. And of course, because we are linked to an ally, we're benefiting from the ability strength, so my Eclipse is a whopping 250%, which is quite a lot of strength. It is, in fact, let me do some math, 700, over 700% strength. It's like 750% strength or something like that. It's really high. So yeah, Nidus is definitely a funny Warframe, and you can do some crazy things with him. The damage when you're dealing with this build is absolutely incredible, so I do like it. And this is how I feel like Teaming Virulence should be used. It should be paired with whatever pet you want, and then you just absolutely tear everyone apart in sword missions without needing to stay still. You just keep going and stay mobile all the time. And yeah, we're in a healthy 7,000 health with parasitic vitality, so we can't really die with 1,000 armor. Don't need persistence, don't need adaptation, don't really need anything. You just kind of kill everyone, and you're very tanky on your own, so you're chilling. You're really chilling. If I would suggest a pet with this build, I currently use an Adarzakat, but I do find the Panzerwaffe also an amazing choice, because if you pair Panzerwaffe with the Hunter Recovery mode for pets, you can actually make it so that it heals Nidus passively. Like, just it attacking will heal Nidus to full health through this and viral quells, and that is really powerful if you're doing a health tanking Warframe. So, finally, I should have the final build here. Yes, I do. Which is the pet buffer build. The pet buffer build, man, this is an insane build. I mean, insane, I don't know about insane, but it's definitely up there. There is a lot of synergies that go into play here, so there is definitely a lot, and I think as a pet buffer, Nidus is like one of the best right now. Definitely on the high end. As you can see, we're using Mecha Set. Mecha Set will also give us armor and provide us with enough armor to survive anything, especially when paired with Umbral Fiber. And in general, this is like, it has so many synergies. So let's start. Theorem Infection gives pets 360% elemental damage, and we pair this with a, what was this called? The Spore Lacer? Yeah, Spore Lacer, Haymaker, Spore Lacer, Swiftfire with this build right here. And this build is simply to just one-shot a group of enemies, so you can proc Residual Shock, which will spawn a electric tentacle from the ground. I will show you what that looks like. And when we stand near it, we will generate electricity damage for our pets. Then Paris Prime, this is a build that simply has as much status chance and crit chance as possible. And as you can see, I have a Riven mode that provides status chance. The crit damage doesn't really do anything for this build, sadly, but if it was status chance and crit chance, it would be ideal for this build. So we choose the Paris because it is the weapon with the highest status chance in the primary category that doesn't use the encounter form for the status chance. I know a lot of people would say the Strand Prime, but the Strand Prime, because of the status chance being in the encounter form, does not actually work as well here. So Paris Prime is the choice, and yeah, with this build exactly. Then for the pet itself, we are using a Sunika Kubro. I have this build here for Nidus, which Link Vitality will allow it to stay healthy permanently, and Hunter Recovery can also heal Nidus in case we're ever in trouble, but this is just a pretty regular, I would think, build for the Sunika Kubro. And finally, for the close, we have a Mecha Overdrive plus Hunter Synergy build. And this is where things get interesting. Mecha Overdrive obviously takes from the primary weapon status chance, so you get a lot of status chance on the close. But Hunter Synergy, this takes from the primary weapon's critical chance. And if you're actually pairing it with Teaming Virulence, this generates critical chance and adds it to the pet normally. So your pet can now orange crit or almost red crit sometimes. So this gets incredibly crazy. Linking to your companion increases the damage by 80%, if you can see it like right now. So pretty cool, pretty cool. So yeah, it doesn't increase their strength, but it still increases their damage. And then we have mecha sets, and then we have all the crits and status applied. So this guy becomes incredibly powerful. I'm gonna go back to the Conjunction Survival, and I'm gonna showcase what this looks like. And you will see that the Sunika Kubro just goes absolutely crazy with the damage numbers, and he's definitely a force to be reckoned with. Let's say. I think out of all the builds, this is definitely the most interesting. We're also using Nourish to provide barrel to the Sunika and the to the Sunika and the Spore Lacers, so we can maybe clear enemies a bit faster. But yeah, the idea is fairly simple. Go ahead, find a group of enemies, 2, 1. Use your Spore Lacer to generate the tentacle, and now stand near the tentacle. We'll see this icon to the top right that's generating stacks. This icon, if you lose it, it's sadly gone. There is a bug with the arcane that its UI is like bugged, and yeah, it does that, sadly. Thankfully, it's only a UI bug, and the arcane actually works even if you lose it, so yeah. And as you can see, Teaming Virulence, 1900% critical chance, so if we use the Paras, we'll see that, but this is just for the pet, so if my pet attacks something right now, he kind of one-shots it, which is pretty cool. Go kill. 15 million damage. Kills everyone in one hit. Yep. And yeah, that's basically it. You just have a pet buffer Nidus build where this guy, especially when linked, deals like 1 trillion damage. And he rushed an Eximus outside of everything, and he's still doing 1 trillion damage. Jesus. Obviously, he's not dealing 1 trillion, I'm over exaggerating, but yeah, he's dealing a lot of damage, this guy. Especially when paired with Nourish. Yeah. He's pretty strong. And as you can see, you don't really lose that much damage in terms of abilities or tankiness. Like, yeah, sure, you still could be more tanky if you use some other stuff like persistence or something, but this is for pet buffing, and as a pet buffing build, it's absolutely incredible. I only wish the Kubro AI was a bit more advanced, because look where he is. He's attacking Neximus, and he kind of tried to one-tap him and then left him alone. Like, I don't know. I just wish the AI was better and it did more. Like, he's not relentlessly attacking enemies, even if I want him to. He does choose the Eximus though and one-shots them, so that's pretty cool. And sometimes I can't really find him, which is a big issue. But it's alright. It's pretty cool. Also, I swear, I should have Contagious Bond, right? Like, Contagious Bond isn't this guy. It's just not broken it for some reason. Yo, kill him. Kill him. Does he not have it? Or is it because he's dealing radiation damage for some reason? There you go. No, he does have it. What the? He does not have Contagious Bond. I swear, he does not have Contagious Bond. What the fuck? He does have Contagious Bond. What? I guess he one-shots them too quickly for Contagious Bond to work? That's actually kinda crazy. There is a flaw in the build. He deals too much damage. Okay, well, um, maybe remove this then, because he's literally dealing too much damage for Contagious Bone to actually work. I thought for a second he didn't have it. That's actually quite funny. Alright, well, build idea still works. Maybe works a bit too well because the guy is one-shotting enemies before they can even do anything. I cannot actually believe that's the case. That's so dumb. He's dealing too much damage for people to have status effects on them, so they one-shot them. Okay, fine. Then just use an epitaph then and prime them. I don't know. That should do it. I have never had an issue with this build where it was just way too powerful to pro Contagious Bond. That's actually freaking nuts. That just shows how overpowered this guy is as a pet buffer, and yeah, I just I don't even know. But how did he not be? You use a weapon that transfers status chance and critical chance, and then you add 2000% critical chance to it. You give your pet fucking like 300% to 500% damage with Nourish, and then you also give it like 360% elemental damage. And somehow, you know what's the worst part? Somehow this guy, out of every element he could have done, he dealt radiation, which he has this much of. How? How did you deal radiation, my guy? Anyway, that's all for Nidus builds. I'm just like amazed by his damage, kinda, and how he completely he doesn't allow Contagious Bone to work. Like that's super interesting. And also, I don't know if you guys know, there is currently a tech that you can use to actually link your sentinels, but I'm not sure if that's intentional, so I'm not gonna showcase it, but you could probably figure it out. It just needs some movement and you looking upwards, but yeah, you can actually link your sentinels right now, and that's probably not intentional, but if it is, then, you know, go ahead and try it. Thank you very much for watching another video of mine, and I will see you on the next one.